So while working with Laravel Eloquent dates, if you want to check that a date is returned as a carbon instance, as the created at and the updated at are by default from the Eloquent are returned as carbon instance. But to confirm that, we can add a check here, a condition, instance of carbon. So using this check, you can test it if it really returns the date, the created at and updated at, and also the deleted at as a carbon instance. So then you don't have to manually parse them using carbon inside the controllers again and again. So to check them, if I come here, refresh the page, as you can see, it is returning yes, which means that the created at and updated at returns as carbon instance. But what if you have other dates like birth date or start date or any end date, which are not by default carbon instance as created at and updated at, which are by default in Laravel are carbon instance. So to do that, let's create a column inside the user's table. So to create a column, we will execute the command php make migration, and we will write add column to users table. We will create this migration, and inside this migration we will define the new column to just test the date instance and the carbon instance. So here we will add $table string. It will be a string, no, it will be a date, and this will be birth date, birth date. Make it nullable, and after email verify that. And also add this here as well. If we go to the user seeder, I think there is no seeder, no information for the date here. But we can add here birth date, and we can add it like, and then we can run the migration fresh and see we actually add this date inside the migration. Then if we go to the web.php, instead of this created at, if we return birth date, we can see if it's a carbon instance or not. Let's clear the cache using php optimize clear to clear configurations and every cache on our Laravel project. So if we come here and refresh the page, so as you can see, the birth date is not returned as a carbon instance because it is not the Laravel default date like created, updated, and deleted at. So to also make this date to return as a carbon instance, we have to make some changes to the model. So we have to go to the user's model, to the user model, and inside user model, inside the casts method, we can add this attribute birth date to act as date. And after this change, adding this key value inside the array, inside the casts method, then it will return as a carbon instance. Let's confirm that. So we will come back again to the web.php as everything is added already. Let's clear the cache just in case. Go back to the browser, refresh the page. It's returning yes now, which means that it is now a carbon instance. So now we don't have to manually parse them as carbon or convert the state into a carbon instance. If we want to implement some logic on the state, execute some logic and pass it to a method that expects this date as a carbon instance. So this way you can make any date inside Laravel project other than the default dates to work and act as a carbon instance. So if you like the video, subscribe to my channel, keep supporting, and stay tuned for more.